Hello everybody and welcome. We have Hayden, Jean Demour and Alison with us here today. So we are going to start off with some introductions.
Thanks, Ameenah, and great to be with everyone on Global Entrepreneurship Week. My name's Hayden Taylor. I'm 24 years old and I'm a social entrepreneur from the United Kingdom. And I founded a organisation called Unloc, and we're a non-profit social enterprise that creates platforms for young people where we empower them to be innovative change makers in the community and in the world of business. And we work in over 100 schools and colleges and work with roughly 10,000 young people every year in the United Kingdom.
Thank you. Jean Demour?
Thank you. It's an honor to be part of this incredibly important conversation on social entrepreneurship. My name is Jean Demour Mutoni. I am the co-founder and CEO at Acts of Gratitude, a social enterprise working in Rwanda. Our work involves creating co-working spaces for social entrepreneurs, creating networking events, delivering skills training, including social entrepreneurship, as well as negotiating funding for the same social entrepreneurs in Rwanda.
Wonderful, thank you. And Alison?
Hi, I'm Alison, lovely to meet you both. I co-founded Lilypads. We design and sell affordable, comfortable and reusable period products and donate our profits to our mission internationally to ensure no woman is disadvantaged by their period through selling affordable products.
Thank you very much. I'll give a quick introduction to myself. My name is Ameenah. I work with Unloc as a facilitator, but I also run my own social enterprise, which is helping the environment. I create eco-friendly watercolor paints made from upcycled waste cosmetics. However, I won't be talking about my social enterprise today. We are going to be focusing on a conversation around social entrepreneurship and social enterprises. So just to kick things off, what is a social enterprise?
Social enterprise is, as I see it, a business that is not just focused on generating profit, but is focused on creating positive benefit for society. It could be like ourselves, an organisation that's social mission is to support and train up young people to develop their leadership and entrepreneurship skills. It's all about creating a vehicle for positive change, but using entrepreneurship as the vehicle to do that. And I think it's an incredibly powerful model, and no wonder it's on the rise across the world. It's a great way to not only drive prosperity in our communities, but also to drive positive social change as well.
A wonderful explanation. Thank you so much for that. How would you say that it's different from a business or a for-profit organisation?
It's this organization that does what they do to support communities around, but also generate their own income for sustainability.
That's a really great and concise way of helping us understand it. Thank you very much. Alison, so how about letting us know a little bit about your social enterprise?
So Lilypads started very much with a social mission. We started about 3 years ago now when I was out in Kenya and found a lot of the girls couldn't afford sanitary products. And in desperation to remain in school while on their period, they were exchanging them for sex. One of the things about making a product is you start to realize how many people are interweaved. We're making a physical product, so there has to be somebody making the fabric and sewing the fabric into clothing and selling it and then using it. And I wanted to make sure everything along that line wasn't exploiting somebody else. To me, social enterprise didn't just mean going, how do we turn our revenue to do something else? It was, how do we also make sure that our supply line isn't making anybody else worse off?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. A perfect example of why social enterprises are just so important. I'm going to ask a little bit about young leaders now. What is it that you think is attributed to a social entrepreneur, but also how can these attributes be linked to young people, and what is it that they might need to inspire them to know that this is something that is feasible for them to achieve?
Well, Number one trait or attribute for me is the mindset, because it all starts with you noticing what is going wrong in your community. And when you have that clear in your mind, when you know that problems out there in the community are opportunities for you, then you are ready to go. So young people need to look no farther from where they live and notice or become aware of the priority problems in their communities. If it's access to drinkable water, if it's access to healthcare, if it's access to environmental friendly approaches to manufacturing. So if you have the mindset which is aligned with the problems in your community being seen as opportunities for you, you are good. Number two is collaboration. I'll give the example of Unloc and Acts of Gratitude. In 2016, I wrote to one young ward and said, do you know of a young person who's been doing work around social entrepreneurship for youth? I would love to connect. And they put me in touch with Hayden. And the very same year, Hayden and I flew to Rwanda to explore opportunities for us to start a social entrepreneurship training program for youth. And here we are collaborating since 2016. The impact both of us are making wouldn't have happened without collaboration. So number two, collaboration, because this is a solidarity work. Social entrepreneurship is about people working hand in hand. Irrespective of where you're from, you want to solve problems not for you, but for your society. And finally, number three trait for me is resiliency, because at the end of the day, you start in 2016 and you see impact in 2020 when we are now sharing lessons learned. So you've got to be resilient and be ready to really solve these problems that have been created by men and women who did it over a very long period of time. And here we are trying to reverse history for humanity.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Yes, a great reminder to us all in the enterprise space in general, but especially for people who are interested in social entrepreneurship. Thank you. Hayden, as a person who works predominantly with young people, what would your take be on that?
I think there are plenty of young people around the world considering whether entrepreneurship or social entrepreneurship is the right pathway for them. And I would encourage them, I'd implore them to really consider it seriously as a career path for them. And I strongly believe that you can align your own personal ambition to want to succeed and create your own successful career with that of a social mission. And I really think social enterprise gives you that opportunity. Fundamentally, it comes down to your own determination. How driven are you to really move the needle on the issue that you want to change? For me, I saw in my own community, in my own schools, in my own colleges, that there were my peers, my friends, young people around me that didn't have the platform to be able to develop the confidence or the aspiration to want to be an entrepreneur or a social entrepreneur or a community activist. And that hurt deeply, you know, seeing a community that felt quite disempowered and to see kind of no obvious pathway for these young people, that has remained my drive to this day. And I've needed to be, you know, really determined and really focused on that social mission to get me through those tougher moments in my journey. I also think, generally speaking, social entrepreneurs probably have a good sense of service and duty as well. You know, they're combining their own ambition for the world with this economic model that they've built to sustain that kind of vehicle of change. And I just want to really hammer home that message that You don't have to compromise your career if you want to set up a social enterprise. There are lots of people out there that will kind of spread this message that, you've got to work 25-hour days. You've got to earn, less than, the average wage in order to run your own social enterprise. That's absolutely not the case. If you're ambitious, you're driven, you can get to a point where actually you can align your career goals with that of your social goals. And I don't want any young person to feel like that's the barrier preventing them from moving into the world of social enterprise because they think they're giving up on their career ambitions. That's not the case. You can absolutely do both.
Fantastic, thank you for that. And you speak about that from experience as well. So you yourself started off as a young person who realized that you wanted to make a social change, and you have been through those trials and use those attributes that yourself and Jean have mentioned. So it's great to see that a lot of what you're saying is really quite relevant and also relatable. So thank you for that. Alison, also you are a young person who has been on this journey of resilience and collaboration and all the other things that we have mentioned just now. What would you say it has been the most valuable attribute for you, or the biggest learning curve for you to be able to have gotten through to get to where you are today?
There have been a lot of learning curves. We post the shiny, happy things. We don't post the things that muck up. It's easy to look at other people and think, oh, they've got it sorted, and not see their tears of frustration and their moments where they're crying out for help. And I think realizing that we're all human, that everyone in this boat is generally in a very rocky sea. We just all present it very differently. And most people don't like to go out and go, this has just gone wrong. I'm in the middle of this. We're scared we're about to lose it all because of X, because that's quite hard to say. And it's very hard to say when you're thinking, will this make the situation worse if I air it? Do I just keep it to myself? Is it my fault? Rather than thinking this is part of the journey. We've all experienced it. And I also think there is a bit of inequality in this space. I've found being a woman in this space very different to a lot of my male counterparts. Despite the fact 2% of investment in the UK goes to women, I totally believe that is not because women don't lead as good, if not better, businesses. It's just some people can't see past you to what you're building. But that does mean it's really hard for you, and you should take that time to acknowledge that. You should not, or should try not to, listen to everyone when they tell you it's in your head, or that this is, the way the world works. This is, you can build something to say, I disagree. And we try and do a lot of education about that in schools and saying, we think girls should be in STEM. We think they should be at A-level maths. I think it's resilience that gets you through. It's being able to take 5 if you need 5 and not think that that's a sign of a weakness. I think sometimes it's easy to see all the stuff around us that you don't like and thinking, but I can change something, and choosing a problem and thinking what would be a better world and then building it. There's something amazing about being able to say, I changed that. That's amazing that we can do that we can see the problems that exist and think, right, I'm done with you. How do I fix you? How do I change it? And that we have that power to do it. And so that gets you through.
Absolutely. A wonderful way to summarize that whole thing as well. Jean, do you have any thoughts on this as well?
Yes. The beauty of social entrepreneurship is the fulfillment you get out of feeling part of the solution, because we are living in a world that has so many problems. Looking at all those problems, almost everyone tends to go desperate. So what does it feel like to be part of the solution? It's amazing, and it's swaggerish. It's what we would all want to go for.
I think also, just to tag on the end there, if that's okay, Ameenah, those moments where you prove people wrong, You know, when people have told you there is no way you're going to be able to achieve that, you're not going to be able to do it, and you're able to prove them wrong, those are kind of the, you know, the golden moments that, you know, you really treasure as a social entrepreneur. I remember meeting with a local head teacher about one of our programs, and I called him up afterwards, and his PA answered the phone. And she said, I'll just pop you on hold whilst I see if he's around for you. And she forgot to put me on hold. So I heard the whole conversation unfold, in which she described me as a silly little boy in a suit, which during my first year of setting up a social enterprise was just soul destroying. And I remember sobbing down the phone to this PA afterwards and explaining what I'd heard and how disrespected I felt, and how disempowered I felt by his comments. And then kind of fast forward to where we are today, you know, working with over 100 schools and colleges. Last year we worked with 11,000 young people to be able to actually, you know, prove those people wrong, that you're not just a silly little boy in a suit. Actually, you have skills, you have things that you can bring to the table. So those golden moments where you can prove somebody wrong that doesn't believe in you are, you know, absolutely incredible.
That's amazing, really.
That brings me nicely over to our next question, which is, what is your proudest moment?
I have always felt proud when one of the young social entrepreneurs we are working with came back to us and said, because of the work we did together, I won. Because of the work we did together, here I am proud of myself. So I am proud of the young people who become proud of themselves.
I absolutely love hearing these stories.
My most recent came in this morning. I'm still a little bit like over it. I've spent the last 3 years trying to build 2 products across 2 continents, and it has been like pushing a boulder up a hill. And I feel like I have said about 1,000 times, oh, the product's nearly ready. And then about 1,001 times I've had to say, no, it's not. And we have finally got the UK one launched. We have the international one working. And I got an email through this morning from someone to say, I know of a community that are struggling to access products. They haven't really got a proper, or the girls aren't struggling. There are all these consequences. We found you online. Are you able to help? And I'm like, yes, we have spent 3 years. Give me an address. It's coming together, and we're able to make that impact. And I know the 1,000 girls we're supporting in this one are all safer now.
What a positive experience. And like you said, it didn't come across that quickly. It took 3 years, but what an absolute win for you. So I'm really happy for you with that. Thank you so much for sharing. Hayden, what is your proudest moment?
Just one moment that kind of sticks in my head, kind of semi-recently, just before COVID hit. We had a young person on one of our leadership programs that was still a bit anxious with their public speaking, needed some support in terms of developing their confidence in addressing roomfuls of people, and one of our team members kind of incubated and supported them, and they kept getting better and better and better at writing these speeches. And this particular young person was really passionate about climate change. And then just before lockdown, we put her forward to speak at the sector-wide summit on climate change, the UK Commission on Climate Change. And she stood up after having, listened to probably an hour of experts and scientists talk about this issue, and just gave the most stunning and most powerful speech that you could ever imagine. And that distant image of a girl that was relatively shy and anxious and didn't want to be in a position where other eyes were looking at her, had almost kind of transformed into this most incredible social campaigner that was ready to share with the world the things that she cares about. Those are the moments that you've made a difference, when you see somebody go on that journey and come out the other side fighting and empowered and excited about their future.
It's great to see whether they're quick wins or whether they are wins that you can see that have happened and developed over a long period of time. Absolutely amazing. I'm going to start bringing this to a close now. As you did mention COVID, I was wondering if you could just leave us with a few words about how COVID has affected the social enterprise space, and if you could let us know if there were anything in particular that was negative or a positive that has come out of this situation. What is it that we should be telling social entrepreneurs that are wanting to start now?
I think it's probably fair to say COVID has presented one of the biggest challenges that I could have ever imagined, and the last kind of 9 months of my life have probably been the most difficult 9 months. But there definitely have been positives coming out of it. We adapted all of our programs to online delivery. We invested in training for our team so they felt more confident using different tools on Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. And in many ways, we're now reaching a whole different type of audience. You know, the kind of young person that wouldn't want to, enter a classroom and be part of a formal program is now able to engage with us by simply clicking on a link and listening and engaging and asking questions. So I think there definitely are benefits. It also means that we can expand that impact, right? We're only a small team based here in Portsmouth in the UK, but by embracing technology, we're able to reach a far bigger audience too, and help more people go on that journey. But we shouldn't downplay the challenges it has presented, the space as well. For funding, that's been hugely challenging. The continuity of your product or service and being able to continue supplying that to your beneficiaries has been really tough as well. And of course, then chucking into the mix all the challenges that COVID brings to your beneficiaries, who are now cooped up at home, many struggling with additional mental health issues, many of which feeling very disconnected from family, from friends. All of that creates quite a damaging cocktail. What I have felt inspired by, though, is the incredible power of social entrepreneurs to say, hey, we've seen problems before. We're just incredibly good at solving problems, right? We're not going to just give up and say, all right, well, we'll just take a 9-month nap. No, we're gonna see that problem and we're gonna find a solution. And I've been speaking to people in commercial businesses that tell me they get their inspiration from social enterprises. Big businesses, when they get a problem, they chuck cash at it. Social enterprises, they see a problem, they actually deal with the root issue. That's the big difference. And I've been incredibly inspired about people's perseverance, determination, and willingness to tackle those issues in the middle of a global pandemic.
Thank you, Hayden. Really inspiring. Jean, would you like to let us know any words for any social entrepreneurs that might want to be starting in the space now?
Yes, if one wants to start today, my humble pieces of advice would be, this is the right time, because at least every single human has been forced to understand that we are facing problems we didn't have before. With COVID, everyone was able to value their listening and their introspection. And today we all at least can listen to each other pretty much better. So if you're a social entrepreneur, know someone who listen to you. Start with COVID. Say, look at what COVID has done to the world. And there are many other problems like COVID. And I am setting on to solve this one. Would you join me?
This year has been brutal in so many ways, but I think it has also brought us together in weird and wonderful ways, has set up so many communities of people trying to support each other and remind you that we can band together if we want to, we can find solutions if we want to. And so take that. If you don't have to start something new, you can join somebody else's, you can volunteer somewhere just to see what it would look like. But being young gives, in my opinion, a unique opportunity because you've seen the world, you're fresh to it. You're fresh to these problems. You can bring new ideas to that solution. You can break away little bits that you think, yeah, we don't need this stereotype out, in a way that someone who's lived in it for 30 more years can't. So take that leap and know that there are so many people out there who want to help and support, that it's quite incredible.
Thank you so much for that. I wanted to say a huge thank you to all three of you for giving us your time and sharing your insight and inspiring so many people who are going to be watching this. Thank you very much.